breaking news on CNN 10. Fridays are awesome. I'm Carl Lazus. We're glad you're along for the ride. Herd immunity is a term that factors into our first story today. It's when at least 60% of a population becomes immune to an infectious disease. This can happen in one of two main ways. Either people recover from a disease and then become immune to it, or an effective vaccination prevents people from getting sick. There's no vaccine for COVID-19. It could be another year or more before one comes out. And doctors don't know yet if someone is immune to coronavirus once they've had it, or how long they'd be immune. But a top disease specialist in the nation of Sweden recently told CNBC that the effects of herd immunity are being seen around the capital of Stockholm. Unlike its European neighbors of Finland and Norway, Sweden did not go on lockdown to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Though it banned gatherings of more than 50 people, it still kept restaurants, gyms, schools, and playgrounds open. And some health officials accused Sweden of gambling with its nation's health. The country has seen more than 2,000 deaths from coronavirus, while neighboring Finland and Norway have each recorded around 200 deaths, though they also have smaller populations. Still, is herd immunity helping Sweden turn the page on coronavirus? We don't have the final answer on that, but we do have a tale of two different Asian cities that had different approaches to the disease.
It's a tale of two cities amid one pandemic. Singapore and Hong Kong, two wealthy Asian societies that have launched aggressive virus-fighting campaigns from the start. Both cities tightened borders in late January. Both turned away many visitors in March, and as both faced a second wave of infections from residents returning home from overseas, cases spiked, especially in Singapore. On April 13th, Singapore had more than 2,900 cases, while Hong Kong had 1,009. So how can Hong Kong, with a larger population sitting right next to mainland China, manage to keep the numbers lower, at least for now? Well, observers say it could be due to the people here and their collective memory of another pandemic.
SARS has remained very fresh on the memories of Hong Kongers. And when COVID-19 broke out, the people immediately knew we need masks, we need to be away from one another, we need to start becoming very hygienic about things, we need to listen to the medical people, we need to close borders. The basic protocol that I think are found in any government in cases of epidemics and crisis, the Hong Kong people knew exactly what to do, and they did it.
Nearly 2 decades ago, the SARS outbreak killed 774 people, just under 40% of the fatalities in Hong Kong. So at the start of the latest pandemic, Hong Kongers were quick to wear masks. While in Singapore,
you don't need to wear a mask if you're not sick.
A government public service announcement said healthy people did not need to wear masks. Months later, it is now mandatory to wear a mask outside. Another key difference, social distancing. In late January, Hong Kong closed schools and government offices, pressuring private companies to work from home, while Singapore left its schools and government offices open. After a sharp rise in cases, including an outbreak among foreign workers in cramped dormitories, the city-state changed course.
We have decided that instead of tightening incrementally over the next few weeks, we should make a decisive move now to preempt escalating infections.
Singapore has closed schools and most workplaces. It has also banned all social gatherings as part of a circuit breaker to fight the virus. From the start, they have been screening, quarantining, contact tracing, and yet months later, the Lion City is under virtual lockdown.
That is the price we have to pay to combat pandemics such as COVID-19. Social distancing will be an integral part of all the lockdown or circuit breaker measures, but the critical thing is that the government and the people have to remain eternally vigilant, because it may be COVID-19 this year and the next year, but there will be future pandemics.
With an outbreak, there are no shortcuts, only lessons learned from a still unfolding tale of two cities. Christy Lustout, CNN, Hong Kong.
10-second trivia. The largest snowflake on record fell on Fort Keogh in what U.S. state? Idaho, Montana, New York, or North Dakota? The snowflake that measured 15 inches wide fell in Montana in 1887. There's some great surfing going on in Montana. But Carl, Montana is landlocked and hundreds of miles away from the Pacific Ocean. right. But you don't need an ocean to surf, you need a wave. And in the western city of Missoula, a river runs through it, creating endless waves.
You know, standing out in a river with the power of these rapids, rushing down a canyon, somehow you're able to harness that energy and all this water just kind of flowing under you. It just gives you a sense of empowerment. River surfing is simply surfing waves that are formed in the river. They're standing waves, similar to what you'd find in a wave pool, but they are found out in Mother Nature. The sport of river surfing is so new. We're part of a global explosion right now. The way I like to say it is we're pioneers of a new sport. My name is Kevin Benhart Brown. Most people call me KB, and I'm one of the first people here in America, if not the first, to build surfboards specifically for the river. When I got into the sport of whitewater kayaking, I discovered there was these standing waves in the river, and then that kind of opened up my mind to the possibility of riding actual surfboards on these waves. When we first started, we were riding surfboards that were made for ocean waves. We were like, we need some boards that are made for the waves that we're surfing. So we just built a shaping room and a glassing room and a sanding room down in the basement of our shop, and it became the first Rocky Mountain surf shop. Surfing in the river is amazing because the wave is always there. It's an endless ride. You can literally surf it until you can't stand up anymore. You're swimming through the rapids or through the currents, and then you fall in and you gotta swim the rapid back to shore. Snow, things like that, they don't slow us down at all. We get out there year round. I mean, wherever there's a river, there's a wave. Really, the future for the sport is when we start designing and building waves in the river specifically for riding surfboards on. That's like the real future for the sport of river surfing. But the whole point is to go surfing every day. We live to surf, so our next step is to reach out to the rest of the world and you know, kind of show that you can live this surfing lifestyle right here in the mountains.
We're not done virtually traveling yet. Picture Venice, Italy. The architecture, the history, the canals, the jellyfish. The jellyfish? Yes, the jellyfish pushing through the water right near St. Mark's Square. Italy's under lockdown. Traffic is light on Venice's canals. A biologist says the sediment has sunk down to the bottom, revealing clearer waters at low tide. So jellyfish and other marine life are easier to spot. Like mussels? Well, you can see those at Venice Beach. But the ones in Italy have gained a lot of attention because it doesn't seem Rialto that such a grand display can now be seen. We're thankful the jellyfish took the Lido on that, showing us what's beneath the surface. Hey, we hear the Mustangs are roaming wild in Massillon, Ohio, doing a little distance learning there. Shout out to everyone at Tuslaw High School, and thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm Carl Azus for CNN.